Hey guys, hope everybody's having a good day out there today. Welcome back to the show here, and got a good video for you guys today. We're going to talk all about big worms and when you need to use big worms and why big worms work better sometimes than others, how you rig them, everything you need to know about these oversized worms. Some of my favorite plastic worms to fish, especially during the summer months of the year. Couple of different things before we get started here. I just wanted to remind you guys, I have been getting a ton of comments and questions why the Block Old Skill jig is out of stock and not on the site at Baitworks. We had an issue with the weed guards that we worked through. We're in the process of getting that squared away. They're going to be back up online for sale soon. I'll keep you guys updated on that. Just appreciate your patience. And if you guys are interested in any of these big worms I'm talking about today, Baitworks has a great selection of them. I'll include the link in the description. That's a really good way to help support the channel here if you want to do that. Okay, guys. Big plastic worms. I remember back when I was a kid, poking around in my dad's tackle box. This has been, man, back in the early 70s. I remember back then he had some big, giant, like 12 or 13 inch plastic worms that were like big around as your thumb. And he told me that him and that friend of his, Jack Thompson, would go down to Bull Shoals at night and catch him on these big giant worms. So they've been around forever, man. This is like, we're talking 60 years ago, they were using big worms. And they're still as popular today. So what I want to do is I want to show you guys the two different big worms I use and give you guys a little bit of explanation when I fish them. The first one, this is the Zoom Old Monster. This is a 10-inch plastic worm. It was, a lot of people consider this a big worm. Old Monster, thus the name. But this right here is the one that I really want to talk about today, guys. This is the Old Monster Magnum. I have actually caught more bass on the Old Monster Magnum, which is a 12-inch worm, than I have the Old Monster like here. That's the gist of the video today, is the Zoom Old Monster Magnum plastic worm. You can see it's quite a bit larger diameter than the Zoom Old Monster. Like I said, 12 inches long. It's a big bait. Guys, I'm telling you right now, this is my favorite plastic worm to use in the summer months. From June, July, and August, the 3 summer months, I catch a ton of big fish on this worm right here. And just don't let it fool you guys. Just because it's a big worm, it's not like a big giant glide bait or swim bait where you only get 1 or 2 bites a day on it. I've got lots of bites on this thing right here. I caught the last time we fished the FLW tournament at Kentucky Lake, there was still a little bit of grass on the south end of the lake, and I was casting this thing, the Old Monster Magnum, on a half-ounce sinker in some of that grass on the flats in about 5 feet of water, and I caught a 22-pound stringer the last day of that FLW tournament on the Old Monster Magnum. I've caught them everywhere I've been. I've caught them real good at all through here in Missouri, Grand Lake. Caught them on, all the ledge lakes, not only Kentucky Lake, Chickamauga, Pickwick, Gunnersville, all those type of lakes. There's something about this worm when that water temperature gets hot and those fish get setting on structure, whether it be drop-offs, brush piles, that type of stuff. They just like it. There's something about that oversized worm that will generate a strike when smaller baits won't. So the couple of different things I want to talk about here is the color variations. Let's talk a little bit about colors. I keep it pretty simple here. What I've got 3 different colors that I use on it, and that's it. I've got the red bug, which is probably my favorite. I've probably caught more on the red bug than any. And then I use a plum and a June bug, like here. So I really let the water clarity dictate it more than anything else. If I'm fishing water clarity that's on the cleaner side, and when I'm talking about clean, I'm talking about water visibility of over 3 feet, it seems like I can get a few more bites on the plum. And also, guys, I have caught them flipping this plum Old Monster Magnum worm in flooded willow trees. I've done really good in several of the Oklahoma lakes, Lake Eufaula, Oklahoma, Texoma, Grand, flipping this in the willow trees on a 3/16-ounce sinker. They'll bite it in flooded bushes. So that's my cleaner watercolor. The June bug, I like a June bug on a little bit darker days. If the water visibility is anywhere over 2 foot, it seems like I can get more bites on the June bug on a dark day. Also, if I'm fishing anywhere that's got tannic water, tannic type water, which traditionally you have a lot of grass around tannic water, so some of the Texas lakes, again, some of the TVA lakes with grass, some of the Florida lakes, the June bug works good. But overall, like I said, the red bug's my favorite. I catch fish on the red bug in a wide range of different conditions as far as water clarities. And the red bug works really good. If you guys fish a lot of the TVA lakes, all the Tennessee Valley lakes, I've done really good on the red bug. Those are the only 3 colors that I use. So the next matchup on the thing is the sinker size on it. One of the things that I've found out about this worm when you're structure fishing with it is you get a lot more bites on a heavier sinker. So if I'm fishing drop-offs, ledges, deeper brush piles, points, all that type of stuff, really about any water depth over 10 feet, I'm using a 1/2 ounce sinker most of the time, which is pretty heavy for me on a plastic worm. 1/2 ounce sinker, most of the time I'm using it on like 17-pound tests, Seaguar and Vizex line. I don't like to go much heavier than 17 because I feel that if you're fishing that deeper water and you're trying to finesse that bait, that the 20 sort of takes away the action of the worm a little bit, especially on the way the bait falls. So I usually like to go 15, 17-pound test with that. Now, if I'm fishing this thing around the shallow cover, like we were talking about, flooded cover, around some boat docks, around shallow laydowns, I like to go with the 3/16. This worm, as big as it is, when you put a 3/16 on it, you've got a pretty nice slow fall. So I'll take this thing and put it again on 20-pound test, Seaguar and Vizex, pitching and flipping it around all the shallow type cover. Most of the time, in fact all the time, I'm using a 5/0 straight shank Gamakatsu G Finesse worm hook on there. I do use a straight shank all the time in there. I've experimented with a lot of hooks. You will lose a lot of bass fishing this bait on an EWG hook. So go with the bigger, wider gap straight shank hook like that Gamakatsu G Finesse. But that's pretty much the setup, guys. Just if I'm fishing a worm in summertime, I'm fishing a big worm most every single time. In fact, there's really only 2 worms that I fish. I'll drop shot like a 4-inch worm, like this finesse worm, for suspended fish, and I'm fishing the old Monster Magnum on any type of structure in the deeper water. So give it a try, man. If you guys have never tried these big 12-inch worms, they will get bit. They'll catch lots of fish. They'll catch big ones. Just a great way to catch them in the summer. So thanks for tuning in, guys. We'll talk later.